everybody, I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's video, we're going to be doing a really fun wood burning test. We are going to put a wood burning pen to the test against wood burning paste, and I think it's going to be a really fun project. I'm going to do the same design on either side of the board, and I'll show you the results at the end. This is such a fun project. I'm going to link everything that we're using for this down below in the video's description. And remember, shopping those links doesn't cost you anything, but it does give me a little bit of commission so I can keep making these videos for you. Now, be sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun DIY content we have coming. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to load in our design that we want to use for the test here. So I'm just going to click upload, and then I'm going to choose upload image, and I can either browse for it or drag and drop it. I want to make sure that I'm using the SVG, and I really love the way that this person has this because they have a welded SVG and then a regular SVG. Now mine do show as an HTML document, but that's just because I don't have a default vector program chosen because I use a lot to edit with, so I don't want to choose a specific one. I'm going to take a look at the SVG non-welded just to see what it looks like. Should be totally fine, but I do want to point out that it does look really blurry on my screen. This has been an issue with Cricut Design Space for a little while, so just be aware of that. It's not going to be blurry when we actually upload it, but you'll notice it also looks blurry here on this screen. I think it's just an issue with Design Space, so if you're seeing that, don't fret, it'll be fine once it's up into your canvas, so it should be just fine. See how nice and clear it is now? So I just wanted to see what it looked like unwelded, and it's just got a couple of layers, which is fine, and all we simply have to do is just click attach before we do anything else. Now, we do know the size of our board. It is 8 by 10, so I'm just going to open up a shape, and I'm just going to use this rounded cornered square. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to unlock my scale for my sizing, and it's going to be 8 inches wide and 10 inches high. I'm going to do it in the portrait format just so that it can fit these a little bit better. Now I need to move this up to the front, so I'm going to right click on it and bring to front, and then I'm just going to change the color of it so that we can see it against the gray. And I'm going to place one here, and I've got room for the other one because I want to do the same design with the different product. So I'm just going to kind of move this one down here, and I want to make sure I leave enough room on the bottom and on the edges just so that it doesn't like fall off the side of our cutting board, but we did do the template, so it should be fine. Now, I'm going to show you a quick little trick that I like to use because I want to make sure that I have like a buffer area around my stencil, because that's basically what we're making on the sides, so that if I get any of the paste a little too far out or any of the marker, it's going to contain that and not get it onto any more of the board, so I have a little extra on all the sides. In order to have it cut like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of my pieces and I'm just going to attach them. And you'll see that everything turned gray, and that's totally okay. All the parts that we want to cut out are still showing, and that's what we want it to do. I want it to cut a big square around them, and then I want it to cut the design on the inside. When you're doing a stencil, you want to remove any of the vinyl where you want the paint, or in this case, the scorch paste or scorch marker, to go through. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to save this. So I'm going to save this as cheese board and go ahead and click save. Now, typically when you're doing this, you're only going to need one of these. You're not going to want two on the same board. But because we're testing the two different products, I wanted them side by side to make it easier for us to compare them. Now, all we have to do is click make. Now, because we're going to be using some permanent vinyl for this, we don't need to mirror it. We don't need to do anything like that. It's going to cut perfectly just like this. I'm going to cut this on the vinyl setting, and I'm going to be using some StarCraft HD for this. Now you can use stencil vinyl, removable vinyl, permanent vinyl, whatever you want to use, whatever product you find that works best for you, or you have a lot of extra, use that because you don't want to like waste it. So I usually use like some of my bigger rolls that I maybe have a color that I bought a lot of, something like that. Now again, this is all going to cut on the vinyl setting. We're going to get this all cut out, weeded, and then I'm going to show you how we're applying it to the board, and then we can test out our different burning methods. lesson is to always check what size blanks you actually have. I didn't have the larger board anymore. I used it for something else. So I'm gonna use this smaller board. I just cut them in half. I'll still give you guys a side-by-side view, but they'll fit fine on this. So what we're gonna do is we're going to apply the vinyl to the board first. So I'm gonna grab some transfer tape. And all I need to do is lay my design face down onto the tape. And I'll just do both of them all right next to each other. It should be fine. And then I'm going to trim off my transfer tape. You're going to want to burnish these from the back. So you give them a good press all the way around. And I'll cut these apart before I peel them off because we're going to do one on each side of the board. Go ahead and cut these apart so you have one piece for one side, one for the other. And we're going to be using this board. This is from IKEA. It's made of bamboo, so this will be a great test for these two burn products. And then I'm just going to peel the backing off. I did just change my blade fairly recently, and so I am having a few spots where it's been cutting a little too deep, but that's okay. If it does that, I'll show you how to fix that problem. Usually the backing, you can see right here, there's a little flappy. Usually the backing will just come off. If it doesn't, you can use your pin pen to just peel it back. But you want to make sure all your parts stay on. And then we're going to put this on our board. Now I would like to try to give this as a gift if it all comes out nicely. So I'm going to try to get them pretty straight and even. Normally I wouldn't care. But if I can reuse this, even better. And we're going to actually probably reuse this for another video as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all pressed down. You want to use a pretty firm pressure with your squeegee. And you want to make sure that you pay close attention to all those little spaces in the letters. So you can see I'm kind of using this edge of my squeegee. And I'm just going in a circular motion kind of over all of the design. Once I've got that, I can go ahead and peel off my transfer tape. You're going to want to go carefully for this, and you're just going to peel back. And you want to make sure all of the letter centers have stayed down, all of your vinyl is staying down. So what I do to help with that is I put my hand here right next to the tape, and then you push the tape so that it's really well folded over on itself. And then you just kind of help it along. And you just hold it down. So my hand is over the tape just a little as I'm kind of pulling the tape back. And I'm pulling that tape back at a really sharp angle. I find that that really helps it come off a little bit easier without taking any letter centers or anything like that with you. Now you want to watch that cheese too. We got some really small dots on the cheese. All right, we're good. Now before I move on to the other side, I'm just going to kind of hold this into the light a little bit and move it around. And look for any bubbling that might be next to any of my letters, but this looks really good, really flat, really happy with that. So I'll put the vinyl on the other side. You really don't need to watch me do this. I'll do this in really quick form. I'll speed it up for you, and then we can apply the burn. We're gonna do the pen first. We're gonna be using this Scorch. It's a Wood Scorch Pro, it's just the off-brand one. It has two separate tips. It has a thin, fine, try to get in there for you, fine tip, and then it also has the wide tip. We're gonna use the fine tip for this. And when you get this, you wanna prime it on a piece of paper, which you've already done, so that your burn solution comes out. And then all you do is you just color in your design. Now this is a product where less is more, so you try to go pretty light. You'll see that it does puddle a little bit, so you want to just try to go as light as you can. Like I'm not pressing down hardly at all, and then I just kind of go around the edge best I can, and then I will fill in the center as well. So we'll color this in. It's basically just like coloring in any kind of stencil. You just want to make sure that you get all the parts of your design. Once we've done that, we're going to let this dry before we remove the stencil, the vinyl. We're going to to carefully remove the vinyl. There isn't really much marker on the outside of it, so I think we'll be okay. But what you just do is, just like anytime you remove a vinyl decal, you're gonna peel this off, and you're gonna try to peel it best you can, and you wanna try to make sure that nothing really like touches the wood. And I'm just gonna go kind of slow, and we'll come back through and get any pieces and parts that didn't peel up, but we're just gonna peel this off. And you'll notice the marker's still a little wet. We don't want it to fully dry. I just allow it to sit for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna peel this off. And like I said, we'll get the parts that didn't come off and like the centers of the letters and stuff. When you do this though, I want you to be really careful, because I want you to make sure that you're not touching the marker part, like the paint part, with your hand or with your pin pen, because that can cause it to end up a little bit messy. And then we're going to take this outside because it's safest to do in a well-ventilated area. And so I'm going to do this in the garage, opened. That way we can burn it, and then we'll come back in and we'll do the other side. We're going to be using the paste on this side. I'm going to keep the other side a secret for now to see how it goes. So I've got paper towels. You definitely want those when working with this. And you want a squeegee and your paste. So I'm going to open this up, and it's going to look like a really gross, almost like a marmalade gel. And you're going to take a squeegee, and you can use a big one, a little one, whatever you got. And I like to use the small one. You don't need a lot of paste. I've got just a little bit here. And then all you're gonna do is, just like if you screen printed, you wanna take that paste and you wanna make sure that you get it all over your stencil. Now, I probably will need a little bit more paste than what I got out, but that's okay. I like to start small. And then I just, as you can see, I'm just going over the entire design, and I'm being careful not to get it off of the vinyl. But you can see, and I still have quite a bit of paste on my squeegee. And I'm just gonna make sure that I cover the entire design. I wanna make sure I get those little dots down there. I wanna make sure the cheese is covered. And what I like is it's really easy to see what parts you've covered and what parts you haven't. So then you can just take and squeegee any excess back into the jar, and then you can just kind of pop some more out if you feel like you need a little bit more. And then you can just get over any of those parts that you feel like maybe you didn't get as well as you wanted to. So I'm just kind of going over this. I'm just going to double check. I want to make sure everything is coated. You don't need a lot. Like I said, this burn paste will last you a really long time. I'm just going over to make sure that I got all of it. I think it looks pretty covered to me. I don't see any spots that don't look covered. So again, I'm just going to scrape the little bit that's on my squeegee back in. Anything left over, I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe off. This stuff is non-toxic. And if you need to, you can always wash your squeegee in the sink. It's just plastic, so you can easily just clean it off if you need to. I'm going to close up my paste. This needs to sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we can remove the vinyl stencil. Then we'll take it out to the garage, and we will go ahead and burn our design. We've let this sit for a little while, and I did take a little paper towel and wipe off some of the extra just kind of on the edges. But you're going to want to have a towel ready to place your vinyl on when you weed it off of here, because there may still be some burn paste on there, and you don't want to get that on your table or anything. Even though it's not toxic, you don't want to. It does stain. I've got a little bit of stain on my hands from it. So you're just going to remove your stencil here, just like you would any other time. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quickly, and then I'm gonna take you guys out to the garage, and we are going to burn. The first one that we're burning is the pen, and you want to make sure that you're using an actual heat gun with this, because like something like a blow dryer is not going to get hot enough, and it won't actually turn the paste or the burn marker at all. So I used this. It took me about 5 minutes for each of these to burn. To a like color that I was happy with. But what you'll notice is with the burn marker, I don't have to actually burn a lot more of the board. When you see me doing the paste, which is this one here, I actually end up burning a little bit of the board so that it's all a very similar color, because it does seem to take the paste a little bit longer to burn, which then seems to cause the wood around it to turn a little bit dark. But honestly, I don't really mind it. I think it looks pretty cool regardless. You just want to take into account that type of situation where you may need to burn the board a little bit just to make it all a little more even, but I still think it came out pretty nice. So here's the marker. I'm not really thrilled with it. You can see I missed a lot of spots, and it's really hard to tell where you miss spots, and it also bled onto the board in parts, so I don't think the marker is the best choice for a bamboo board, but I really like how the paste came out. The paste is super crisp, super nice. I love the color. It burned pretty easy. Like I said, it took a little bit longer, but I still think it worked really, really well. I'm going to give you guys a side-by-side view here in just a second, but I do think either one is fine. I just think you're going to get a little bit of bleeding with the pen, and I do think that the pen isn't going to give you as crisp of a look, especially on bamboo. But definitely try them out for yourself and see which one you like. I'm definitely a paste fan. I think it's a little bit easier for me. I like the screen printing kind of element of it, and I think it's pretty easy to clean up, which is nice. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm going to link everything that we used in this video down below too, so if you're interested in trying any of it, you can grab it on Amazon. All is pretty inexpensive as well, and it doesn't cost you any extra to shop those links. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun DIY content we have coming. Happy crafting!